Evening, everyone. We just have a few more minutes before we go live. Hope everyone's been having a fabulous day. The weather has been absolutely fabulous. Been out playing in my garden and traveling out of town and such, so the good weather really made it easy. Hi, Deb. Let's just see what we got here. Here we go. Bring up the comments. Okay. So, we're going to be playing with watercolors tonight. Fun with water and color. So, should be fun. Some new little tricks. I did watch a new craft, a video, teaching video. I haven't mastered her techniques just of yet, so that's another live to come down the road. But I think tonight what we're going to be doing will give you a good start if you want to take advantage of recreating your garden, the flowers that are in your garden. I know I was out there with my husband today, and I picked up some Icelandic poppies in a really gorgeous orange. And the color is wonderful because I can see it from my living room window and my dining room window, which is really kind of nice. So hopefully this will inspire others to start playing, recreating their gardens on paper. And you know what? Nature isn't perfect. We don't have to be perfect. Take artistic license. Be creative. Add your own funky touch to it. And the whole point of it is just to have fun. So hopefully I can encourage you to give it a try. Okay, it's 7 o'clock, so it looks like Deb is with me. So Deb, we're going to get started. So we'll remove this. So the other day I was playing around with watercolors, and I always try to experiment first, do some test runs before I get down to business. So I'll have a pile of pre-cut watercolor paper on hand. As you can see, I've got a whole pile here ready to roll. And so this is what gets me going. So this here you can see is just a scrap piece of paper. Actually, it's a scrap on mass invoice. So just kind of played with some ideas and thought, okay, this can work. And you'll notice I've got some stampings off here to the side. I've got my little test coloring right there. So from this, we get this. Okay, so this was done on watercolor paper. And you'll notice the way I've done the leaves, the stems, and we'll go through all that. I also just took a little bit of pastels and had it just on my fingertip and just kind of smooshed a little bit of blue and such there. But I wanted some sunshine coming in from the corner. So you'll notice here that there's some yellow, okay? And it's just that little touch of sunshine coming through, okay? And of course, I always decorate my envelopes to complement my cards. So the other thing that I also did with this here too was that I wanted to frame it, but I wanted kind of a soft frame around there. So I did something a little bit different for the first time, is I masked off, just, you know, just using the purple tape, the border, so that I could set up my frame. And I painted the frame And let's talk colors. So the leaves and the stems here is a combination of colors. And for this particular card, I worked with the Tim Holtz watercolor pencils. I want to make sure that's, there we go. Okay, so I used bundle sage and I used forest moss. For the flower, I used picked raspberry. And then for the frame, initially I put down some hickory smoke, and I really kind of diluted it because I didn't want a really heavy color. I wanted the look of a stone, okay? And then afterwards, I took just a little touch of the green and added it here and there. So when I mask this off, you'll notice that the leaves kind of go through the frame here. They're inside the frame. I just painted around it because I wanted that look there. Also a little touch of the pink right in here and up here. I didn't paint over it. I didn't cover it up. I wanted it to be a part of the framework. Okay, so that's this card. Now I gotta say, I do like working with plaids to kind of add a different look to the framing of my cards. And this is the last piece of this particular plaid, and to me it just worked really well, and I love that it just came together. But this is the last piece of this paper, so I'm gonna have to come up with a new plaid and a different color scheme. So there's the card and the matching envelope there. Okay, so how to do. Okay, what I did, and I've already prepped some of my colors here so that we don't eat up a lot of time. And you'll notice I have a Lazy Susan here. For this, with working with the watercolors, to me, it just makes it a little bit easier. And my husband was gracious enough to make me this really large Lazy Susan. So what I did is that we have tools that we need to cross use, okay? A lot of these tools, like these tools here, we might use for, they are for art, watercolors, oils, etc., sort of thing. But quite often we will use these, actually, ones like this, we will use for, and actually even this one here, when we're putting medium on our cards, whether it be straight medium on our card base, or we're using a stencil. So this is another way to take these tools and make them work for you as well. What I did with these, hoping that the watercolor would stick a little bit more, although it did work really well there, I just took a nail file and kind of roughed up the edge a bit. So what I did is, we're just going to stir this back up. And I liked working with the two colors of green as well, okay? So we are just going to bring this up here. And I think, let's try working with this one. What I did was I just laid my paint along the edges. Hope you can see that there. Whoops, let me come down a little bit more. Okay, so just laid the paint along the edges, and then I tapped off a little bit of the excess, and then I just took it and ran it across. And there we go. Okay, now I'm just going to stand up because it makes it a little bit easier for me, at least this part, than trying to sit. So, and see how gorgeous that is? You know, you're trying to get really good stems and such, and this just, it works so well. Don't worry about that blotch there. That's a creative element. Okay. And there we go. Now I'm going to clean this off, and we're going to add in the other color. So let me clean my brush. And we're going to mix this up here. So I'm going to show you all this card here, and then I'm going to show you some other techniques once we get this all done. I went to find some. See, I love the mix of the colors. And it works so well. There. And sometimes this doesn't come together until you're at the end. But you'll have a feel for it, okay? So from there, clean the brush. And we're just going to let this dry up a little bit. Don't worry about that, because you can always put a bug there. You can put a butterfly, ladybug, whatever. So usually when I'm creating flowers or such, I'm trying to do it in odd numbers, 3s, 5s, 7s, okay? Not even numbers. And this part here, the drawing, it doesn't take too long. Depends on how soaked with water. But the nice thing about this is with using the watercolor, you can decide on how strong a color or how transparent your leaves might be, because you've got leaves underneath, you've got leaves on top, so it kind of still gives it a layered look. Okay, so we're just going to finish that up there. And now we're going to go within with the pink. And we just stir this all up. And you decide where you want your flowers. And again, you can decide how strong a color you want. You can always, just grab your pencil and add a deeper color. See, there we go there. And add just a little bit more in here. And in here. Okay, and then what I did was I just splattered. Okay. Now you can decide if you want pink splatters, green splatters. Now, the other thing that I did do with my flower, because I knew I was going to be putting in the touch of yellow, because I wanted that touch of sunshine, was, okay, I thought I organized all my tools. Okay, hold on just a second. Okay, it's not there in its normal drawer. I took a wink of Stella. Oh, here it is. Okay, and while it was still drying, and it gives it a little bit of sparkle, and here we'll just add this. It gives it that golden hue, which is really kind of nice. Hi, Natalie. So, see, it just adds a little bit of sparkle. It kind of gives it that sunshine warmth. And again, if you want, you can just go in, give a few splatters with the gold. Okay. Now, down here at the bottom, you get to decide how much of this is actually going to be your image for your card, okay? I went a little bit more rectangular. You could actually come in with some more greens. The little squiggly guys look kind of cool. And sometimes, you know, it really is that element of surprise, you know, quite like our gardens. I think my husband was out there looking and goes, what's this? What's that? I'm going, beetroot. What about this? It looks like a weed. No, I'm sure it's a flower. Time will tell. It could very well be a weed, but I don't like to let him pull anything out until we know for sure. Actually, last year what we did is we took a fistful of white forks out there and, white knives, and put them with the flowers, so that we'd be able to know what was coming up this year. So let's just take a closer look at this. Chop it up. Now, this would be good. Now you're going to add quite possibly more along the bottom here. And, you know, this is going to be a different shaped card, but I kind of like that because it gives you room for your sentiment right here. Okay. And actually, let's add some ground. We could even trim this up a little bit more. And we're mixing but I found it kind of fun working with these tools as opposed to always using them for texture paste, etc. sort of thing. So I just might extend it over here. Okay, this also gives you a chance for some background stamps, background stencils. You can go in there and work around your image. Like I said, I took some blue pastels just on my fingers. I figured my light source was coming in from my right side. Pardon me. But there you go. And then you just frame it up. So what I did, like I said, was that I decided how much of a border I wanted to see, and then I just taped it off. I think I would go like that there. Now this is just a small portion that you're seeing, okay, but then and once I do this up, I'll post a picture of it. Okay, there we go. And I would take hickory smoke again, because the color really works well with this. And I would just paint in there. Again, I would not cover the leaves here. I would paint around the leaves because I want the leaves going through the framework there. Okay, so that's how we do that. So that is pretty much this card, and it's just literally having your paint pots, taking your tools. You can use brushes if you like. I know when it came to painting, of course, my framework, this here, I did use a paintbrush, but the rest of it, you know, the stems and such, just playing around with these guys, the different tools. So something to consider, okay? So let's move on to the next bit of fun that I had. So, whoops, there's my worksheet down on the floor. This one here, what did we do? Well, with this one here, I tried something a little bit different. I took my circle guide. I did a big one, of course, and then I just took a small one. And okay, now when you're working on your watercolor paper and you've got pencil marks, you're thinking, I don't want that pencil showing. What's a good way to handle that? If you have a kneadable eraser, I'm going to show you. Come on. Well, sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. Here we go. Okay. Now, this is what I loved because I didn't want the heaviness of it, but I wanted it there for a guide. See, I'm just going over top, and you see, it just, you've got your guide there, but it's not standing out, okay? So you're just taking your kneadable eraser over, and you're softening your marking. But there you go. So for this one, I wanted to try something, another paint source. So what I did was I picked up the Winsor, the Cotman watercolors, and lots of fun colors. So all I did was are we on screen there? Yes. Okay, so a little bit just along here. And I'm just going to do a little bit just so that you can see. And just, put your hand in the pot, pull out a color, and work with it. And let's try a little bit of sunshine. We'll put in some orange for my poppies up front. Okay, and maybe even a little bit of yellow. Okay, there we go. Because you see, these look at this. This is fabulous for a flower. It really is. So all you're going to do is load up your paintbrush and there we go. There starts the green. And let's take off some of this excess. But let's start okay, a little bit more. We're going to bring in this. And then don't forget, bring in your golds, your silvers, and really give it a touch of magic. And so you would just make your whole way around the circle, add in some blues, add in some purples. See, I can still go back here because there's some paint actually still along the sides there, and blend this even a little bit more and get it moving. But you see how much fun that is? And then you really are, truly creating one of a kind. The other thing is, have a roll of paper towel. You're going to need it. See, look at that. And the way it just spreads. And all you have to do is hold your brush down and you can soak it up. And you can watch it spread. I think I want this yellow, this in here, just a little bit more moving. Pick that up. There we go. Besides, look at the texture that you're getting when it's moving. Okay. Let's add just a little bit more water here. There. But yeah, I've used up a lot of paper towels. And that's okay. Sometimes I save my paper towels because they in themselves are a piece of art. I mean, look at all the colors. You can lay it down. Even the baby wipes, I'll keep those sometimes too. But there's another technique. Using that same technique, I thought, let's create backgrounds. Backgrounds that have an edge. How are we doing for time? We're doing okay. So what I did here is I just laid down a strip of the nonstick tape and then selected my colors. So let's grab a fresh piece and actually play with this so that you can see. So we are going to, okay. We are just going to burnish that down. There's another straight edge. There we go. Okay, so for this one, let's try something a little bit different. We'll put the blue. So if you're wanting to create a background for your card, a background for your journal page, okay, same thing. Okay, there we go. So, my big brush. And let's start with a fresh paper towel. Okay, so put the water down and then come right in. Okay, come in with your next one. Okay, now let's get it rolling. This is kind of cool. And there, now we got it rolling. Bring it down. Now I'm just doing a small bit here so that you can see. But again, get right up in there with your water brush. Right up in there, right up in there. And you can see, there we go. If you had a whole large background of this, you could really create some beautiful backgrounds. Now, let's just, I'm going to take this guy here. Oh, wow. Look at that. That's just too fun. That is just too fun. And again, you may decide to use this for your flowers. And why not? It makes a good background, but it's very useful in many different ways. So, what else I did, because I was playing around and I thought, you know, what else can we do here? So let's just play. Actually, let's do this one. I kind of like this. I'm not sure if many of you have these guys, but these are the metallics, okay? So this is still wet. And we're going to at it. So when this dries, you're going to have that metallic highlight to it. Okay, so I have the 3 sets of these, which I found lots of fun. And this one here is fabulous because this one is, does it have a name? No, batch. Okay, good thing I got my magnifiers on. DS1553-849. The reason why I liked this one, look, you've got a touch of sunshine right here. And to me, I like to put a little touch of sunshine in every project because we need a touch of sunshine. See, you can see it there. And then what you end up with, because we're just going to put this off to the side to dry. Hopefully you'll be able to see the sheen there. And this background here, fabulous. I didn't have a tree stamp close by, but you could do a tree line across there and kind of represent the auroras borealis. But you can see here, the metallic really adds a lovely touch to them. So these paints, lots of fun. Okay, moving along. Now, when it comes to doing your flowers, leaves are important. No ands, ifs about it. And leaves can be a lot of fun. So I'm going to show you a couple of different techniques, okay? So this one here, we're just going to, let's grab a brush here. Okay, so for this one here, you're going to want a little bottle of this. And it's a little bottle, it's just water, okay? Just water. So what you're going to do is, let's stir this up. You're going to drop a good water droplet there. Now, this is if you want a stem or a branch. That's a little bit different. Okay, we're going to dry this off. Then we're going to take the water. Sorry, I got to get this guy down there. And we're just going to put a little water droplet right here. And in between these guys. Come on. Okay. And we're going to start with, okay, let's do this one. See how you get the lumps and bumps in there? That's kind of cool. Now you can make it finer with smaller dots like I did here. Okay, now while you still have this water here, that's where you can kind of go in. You know, if you have a stem that's kind of like one of those furry stems. Okay, if you want to make leaves, okay, you can come in with this guy. Okay, there's that option. This one I think is kind of cool, and I'm just going to put a dot of that off to the side because this guy, let's stir this up again. to me, this makes a really nice eucalyptus leaf. Okay. So we'll just do that little dot right there. And then you're going to come back in. And the nice thing about this is that your leaf has a transparent look to it. And I am actually, we're just going to add a little bit more here. And I can lift this off just with a clean brush, but I think I wanted this one. Let's just add a little bit more into there. There we go. And a little bit of water, and then watch it run a little bit. And see how it's blending in there because this is already wet. Now, I think I did this on another video, whereas you see how there's this line. Let me just bring it up. There is this line forming along here. And to me, that's okay. I like that because I have a light side and a dark side. If you did not want that, then it's a matter of just taking your brush. It's a little damp. And you just soften that edge if you didn't want that. If you like that, then I would just add that back in because, yeah, I like that. Now, the thing is, too, don't forget your leaves might have brown spots, so you can always add some brown splatters in there and such. But again, the thing to remember is that you've got really cool, see this one here with the really fine point? This one's kind of cool for adding really thin lines. So if you get a chance to pick up some of these, the results can be phenomenal, okay? And as you can see, I did other leaves here. Here's a round one here, but this one here, this is the one where I used the eucalyptus style one, okay? We're gonna use this one up. Okay, and we're going to take this one and I think, there we go. To me, that's a really neat leaf. And then just let it roll back and forth. It'll decide on how it wants to. We'll just draw it up here. Hi, Karina. Nancy. Oh, gosh, Claudette. Oh, Celine. Oh, my gosh. Thanks, everybody. But look how the texture in this leaf, this one here, the undertones are coming through. And to me, that's just really cool. And then the stem here. So for all those tools that we use for doing texture paste, etc., sort of thing, now we've got another use for them. And the way I look at it is I explain to my husband, I'm getting more bang for my buck, honey. And then that way I can go buy some other stuff. Okay, so there's those leaves. Now I'm going to show you another fun leaf. These guys here. And this one, it takes a while to get used to it. It takes a while to work it. So I want some more of this dark. So we're just going to fill this pot back up. And then I have a couple of flowers and a couple of techniques with the flowers that I want to show you. Now the thing is, with your leaves, I showed you using the tools there, the knives, I think is how they're referred to. So we're just going to stir this up a little bit here. So you've loaded up your paintbrush. And as you can see, I was practicing here. So I spent this afternoon with a little bit of glass of wine. So you're going to start and just kind of do a little twist, okay? So you're going to start and this is where you get some of these funky ones or even these little ones. So go, turn it, there we go. The other one that people were doing when I was watching videos is that they would start off and go, okay. So let's get another fresh piece of paper here. So there's a couple right there, but let's just play some more. So you start off, tip up, okay? Just take a little bit off of there. So you're going to start up, then they go. And it's a little bit different, I'll grant you. I kind of liked the swishing kind of one. And it really does take, oh, I kind of like that one. It really does take some practice, and it depends on the kind of leaves that you like to see, the kind of leaves that you're going to need for certain projects. There, that's kind of cool. So it's just, you come on, you got your point, you come on, turn it, and then go off. And then the other one was where they would come on and spread and then go. So let's try this one here. It does take a lot of practice. There we go. This one here turned out really well. See, I would fussy cut that. I'd add some darker green in there. Okay. Oh yeah. I'm a little bit different. I like the unusual. For those that know me, kind of, oh yeah, kind of figured that out. But you see, there I'm going to get my light and dark. Okay, and I have the transparent side, but to me, that is the light coming in. That's my light source, okay? Hi, Catherine. So again, it's just a matter of, I mean, you could sit here and just doodle. There's a good leaf. But they would come on, twist, and turn off. So there's play, and it also depends on the results with different size brushes too, okay? But you can see here, that makes a fabulous leaf. That's a fabulous leaf for a great project. Okay, so there are leaves, okay? So now, don't want to run out of time, but a friend gave me this napkin. Okay, we get inspiration from all over the place. Let me tell you, your gardens, napkins your friends give you. But this here is perfect example, okay, of the leaves. So from here, okay, I drew it out. Okay, now you can see how the lines were heavier here and they're not so heavy there. So this is where that kneadable eraser comes in. And again, I'm going to show you because I think some people have just jumped on. So this kneadable eraser, see, it just tones it down, but it leaves enough there for you to see your lines so you know where you're painting, okay? Not only that, you can label them 1, 2, 3 so that you have an idea. Now, the workshop that I was in on was with a lady by the name of Olga. She was actually in Norway. So that was kind of cool having a workshop with her. So just so that you can see here, I'm going to start up with the same color that bottle sage. No, I think it was moss green that I want. Okay, so we're going to move this off to the side. So I just want to show you this really kind of quickly because she paints the transparent watercolors, flowers and such. Actually, this wasn't the green that I wanted. So let's just turn this. And there we go. This is the one that matches that one. So we're just going to work this up. We're coming up close to the end. And I want to show you how to do a cone flower, like the petals. But we're just going to quickly do this here. Okay. So with this, you'll see here in the corner where I've tested my colors so I can see how transparent I am or not. So I think I'm good. And let's mop this up before I end up wearing it. Okay, so here we go. I think I want to just erase a little bit more of that line in there. So I'm going to paint this one first, and you'll see that it's fairly light. And you'll see that underneath there is a stem, okay? And I'm just gonna mop up the extra. Always have a stash of those paper towels close by. Okay, so you can see under here that when I go to paint this leaf, this part here will turn darker because this is on top. You'll notice here, my next leaf here will be transparent, but part of it, just a little part of it, is going to be a little bit darker because it's showing, the underneath part is showing through. Okay, so we're just going to dry this up. Okay, so now I'm going to paint this one, and you can see again it's fairly transparent, but like I said, I'm still learning this technique. But you see how this one here, because that part of the leaf is underneath, it's a little bit darker right there. And you don't have to worry about staying within the lines because you're going to take that kneadable eraser and wipe those marks away. But you see here, where it overlaps, it's darker there. This portion in here will also be darker. I still got a few minutes because I don't want to. I hope you guys are enjoying this, or hope you're learning something. I hope. I don't want to be wasting your time. Okay, so let's go ahead because let's just, there we go. So we're going to come in here with the light. But you see, this part here, where it's overlapping, is going to be, and we'll come back and we'll soak up that extra. And there you have transparent leaves. So I'm just going to soak this up. So you have the dark spot there and this one here. Then once this is dry, you're going to take a little bit stronger pigment and you're going to take a finer brush, but you want a little bit stronger pigment from your paints. Okay, and here we go. You're going to come in. See, you're just going to go along there. Now again, you can soften that edge by using a clean brush. My pigment portion, this is where I only took her workshop on Tuesday, so I'm still learning. But I love the transparency, and she does it with flowers. But again, from the napkin to your piece of artwork, and using your kneadable eraser there. Okay, now on to flowers. I gotta say, the last time I was in at the store, I picked up dilutions, ink tints, color cakes, and sticks. I got to tell you, I had fun with this guy. This was lots of fun. And I'm going to do a couple of quick flowers here for you. So first off, let's bring the purple back up here. And I'm going to show you a little trick or two, I'm hoping. Okay. See, that's really intense. Because I tried to prep some of these inks because I didn't want you sitting and watching me mix these up. Okay, so when it comes to doing your cone flower, you'll notice here I've started it. I haven't put the top on, but I'm doing the petals. So let's just roughly draw in. And I'm just going to work off to the side here. So we're going to start with more of the diluted, okay? So for the cone flower, or even your daisy petals, tip down. You're going to start with a tip. Then you push down. And then you come up. Okay? Now, you probably don't see this very well because this is diluted. Okay? And we're just going to mop that up. But this is the softest part, so it's like underneath as we keep building layers. So again, I'm just going to do it off to the side. I wanted you to see how it's going to do. You're going to a little you're going to start with your point. Start with your point. Then you push down. Okay, so point, push down, and then to the point. Okay, so let's do that again. So point, push down, so you're spreading your brush, and then you're going to lift up, and you got your point. And then you will come in with your brush, your other brush, and just pick that up. Okay, so let's go back to here. So you've got your point, and lift up, and the point of your flower. So you can see here how I've built up the layers. So I'll do the lightest layer, then I'll go back in again, and each layer becomes a little bit darker. The darkest layer, I'll just put right here for you so you can see. I'll do it over here. So again, point, spread, and then lift up. Perfect petal. Okay, perfect petal. So let's put that off to there. Now, so that's your cone flower. Okay, fairly easy. Once you get the hang of it, start with your point, spread the brush, lift it up, bring it back to a point, and you've got your perfect petal. Okay, now let's go back to these guys. I had lots of fun with these. If you get a chance to pick these up, they are so easy to work with and fun. So this is what you get. You get your sticks and your cakes, and just leave them. The cakes can just sit right there. So what I did here, I just want to show you very quickly because I'm kind of stretching my time here. And let's do this. So we're just, I'm just going to do this. And I'm going to rotate my colors. Mix them up and have some fun. So I'm just going to do half flower here because I want to show you. Water pens. Fabulous. So for this, yep, I'm wet. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? They're such the colors are fabulous. They are so easy to work with. And here's another flower. Oops. And then you can just fill in, mix them all around. Let me just blob that one up there. But look how pretty. So then you want to fill in. Look how easy it is. You just go to your cake. Look at the different, see the colors come to life. And then you can add in your pinks. And I think I've got this one. Yeah. Look at these. They're just fabulous. Intermix them around. But I gotta say, I had seen them online and I wasn't too sure. I checked with Christiane because there's only the one set available right now. But I tell you, when another set comes out, boy, oh boy, I'm going to be all over it. And here's my brown center. But look how easy it was. And that's the same that I've used there. So again, with the greens, because I like mixing my lights and greens, there we go. Okay, I think that's about it. Oh my gosh, I tried to pack in as much as possible for you guys. I hope that I've been helpful in some way. If you have any questions, please. Oh, hi Annie and Diane and Laura Lee. So if there's any questions that pop up, please drop me a message, and I will do my best to help you out, whether I have to do a little a video and send it to you to help you out. But to review the first project with this here card that I did, this was using the Tim Holtz water sticks, okay, but using the knives like these guys to create the stems and such. To me, like I said, it's always nice to be able to cross over, you know, your tools and make them really useful. I gotta say, I've really enjoyed using the cakes and sticks. Fabulous product. Watercolor paper, paintbrushes. The paintbrushes that I really liked to use. I had picked up at the store these ones, but also the number 5 and the number 4 fusion brushes. Excellent brushes there at the shop as well. So, and don't forget the Spellbinders water pens. They're fabulous fun, and they do make it easy, and they do make it quick, because you saw how quickly we got this little flower there, and it didn't take any time at all. So thank you everyone for joining in tonight. Enjoy, go out, take a look at your garden, bring your garden back inside, give it and start painting. Take pictures of your garden, bring them back in and start painting. Anyways, thanks everyone. Enjoy your evening.